Hello, everybody. We are back. August the 1st, 2017, top of the table. Brian Bentley along with Chris Ballard in Connecticut, Mark Villa in LA, and with all three of his testicles, Jeff Krause joining us from Chicago.
Tripod.
Yeah.
That's a gift. I took one of Mark's.
That's how he gets to call himself a weightlifter. He carries around three big kettlebells in his pants.
If you got three, which way how do you dress them? How do you decide which way to dress them if you have three? I've always wondered about that.
What are the name of the three amigos?
That's
the quickest thing I could think of. I don't have names for them yet.
All right.
They're still in the infant stage.
I beat Mark to the punch, and I just got the dick jokes right in the intro. So it's been August 13th since we've done a show, but we've actually been together. We've all talked. Jeff, glad to have you back after a couple of years. Did you see where?
It's been a few years.
Did you see where somebody tweeted Iboon the other day, or Hank tweeted Iboon about we had him on the show recently? And I go, that was April of 2012, Hank.
Right.
And oh, by the way, gentlemen,
Hank
how
with
are
his
you?
phone mic.
What?
Hank with his phone mic.
Yeah. My mic's not making any noise.
Yeah.
And then after the show, we said, Hank, unplug that earphone thing. But then I won't be able to hear you. And then his microphone was completely clear.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago, yeah.
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks.
I don't know. 2 weeks ago, maybe.
I was in LA along with Chris and his sister Laura.
Yes.
And we got to visit Mark, and we went to see the Galaxy host, now Supporter Shield winners, Toronto FC.
And bend over.
Well, I mean, they just bent over. They bent over and spread the cheeks. Why?
Yes. Yeah.
And they even walked one of those goals in.
They didn't even get tipped $1 for spreading the butthole. They just showed it, man. We gave him our real name and everything. It was right there.
So Mark spent 2 games wearing a Teletubby outfit.
Yes, I did.
Why was that, Mark?
I wore it initially against Colorado because my take was, if they're not going to take the season seriously, why should I at this point? So I wore my Teletubby costume for Halloween to the game, and fucking Jossie scored, and we won. So everyone's like, you got to wear it again. So I wore it to the next home game, and we got our asses handed to us. So, hey, that's over.
But I can tell you that was the game that Chris and I were at, and it was like walking through the stands with a Special Olympics celebrity. And I mean that because everybody was looking at him, but everybody was looking.
Yeah, but no one would really come and talk to me.
To add the Mark Villa on that one.
What?
Were they looking through him?
No,
I mean,
they were. It was just funny to watch all the kids would be like, oh, not realizing what it was, and then all the grown-ups that knew were like, oh, look, the Teletubby.
I was trying to, do it right and have people come talk to me, but no one, a couple of people did, but
I think when you started shouting halfway through the first half of the game, that kind of went out the window a little bit.
Yes. And like the next section to our right was like the U.S. women's like U21 team or something.
Yeah.
And Mark just stands up like, Gio, you're fucking terrible. And it just goes through the 4 empty rows in front of us. And we see a guy like 6 rows turn around, stand up with his beer and go, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's over.
So it was 4-0. It could have very well been 5. One got called back on an offside.
It could have been 10, let's be fair.
No,
yeah.
True.
I mean, oof.
And we got double peacocks on the 4th goal.
Got double peacocks on the 4th goal.
So give us the rundown what we heard of. Who was the player that gave up 3 of the 4 goals, Mark?
Okay, let me go back a couple of days, because a few days before that, the day before you showed up, I went to open practice with the Galaxy, right?
Yes.
And I was told 9 a.m. be here. We're going to do open practice.
I forgot about this.
Because of where I live in LA traffic, I had to leave my house at 6:30 to be there by 8. Because if I left at 7, I'd have been there about 9:30. That's how LA traffic works. So I'm there at 8 a.m. I'm reading my book. I'm all cool. 9 a.m., no one's there. 9:15, I get a call from my rep. Oh, it's been moved back to 10 a.m. because the players just started showing up. But we have breakfast coming for you. Fine. So, she takes us on a tour of the little stadium and we, see some things and hoo-ha, hoo-ha. And we go back out to the practice field. It's now 10 o'clock. And it's now 10:15. It's now 10:30.
And he's texting me pictures of an empty field every 15 minutes.
10:45, they finally show up. I actually tweet one of the Galaxy executives and say, if my fucking season ticket payment had been this late, I've had 5 emails about it by now.
Yeah.
I'm tweeting, finally they show up. And it's an interesting practice. It's fun to watch. You can tell that they're not used to the new coach and that he's doing things a lot differently than Analfo did. But the cool thing was Siggy wasn't putting up with any shit. He was calling them out constantly, yelling at them constantly.
And since we've had the show, they brought in Dom Kinnear as their assistant coach.
No, Dom was and then he hired Dom Kinnear as his assistant, and Dom was there, and they were doing this little quadrant drill where it was 5-on-5, one touch the ball. You have to move to a different quadrant before you can touch the ball again. So everyone, it's just constant motion. But as he's explaining what he wants to see, Gio and Jonathan are off in the corner, just kind of dicking off, being little cholo wannabes, and Dom just starts calling them out in Spanish, chastising them in Spanish, threatening them in Spanish. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So that was great to see. And then, they go through practice. We see Legit running laps, playing with the ball. We see Baggio doing a lot of drills and taking some time out, more drills, timeout. And at the end, Siggy comes over, and he's like, well, you saw what we were doing because they were going to go 3 in the back, 5 across the middle, and think that was going to work. And that was a lead up to Chiani's first game.
But wait, hold on. But in practice, as what they're trying to do is push the ball at the right side, the very first time they run the drill,
they give up the ball, and Sig yells, "That's not fucking good enough! The fuck are you guys doing?" Just loses his shit completely. And my rep's like, well, I guess it's a good thing there's no kids here today, because he just went off. And then after practice, he comes over. He's very cordial, really outgoing, really, glad to have us there. He goes over everything they did in practice, and he says, well, we're looking at this formation because Steris is out for 4 to 6 weeks. Blah, blah, blah is out. Someone's out with a card. So-and-so's out with a card. I don't think twice about it. I go home, make a couple texts, a couple tweets. Hey, Steris is out for the season. Blah, blah, blah. No big deal. Come to find out, no one knows this is a real thing. For whatever reason, Siggy just told a bunch of season ticket holders something that no one else knew in the press or blogs or anybody else. Half the club didn't even know this yet.
So Mark's breaking news from his house.
I'm breaking news. I'm like, oh. Yeah, the head coach just gave me a break. Cool. Awesome. And so it was Chiani's first game. Really nice guy. Big. I was really hopeful. He looked really good in practice, and then he just shit the bed in the game.
Give the backup. What is his playing history prior to coming here?
Playing history is he was Division I 4 years ago. Then he was Division II, then Division III. He didn't play. He was out of contract all last season in France. And the way we found him, it's my understanding, the way we found him, his agent is Clement Diop's agent. And everyone knew we were getting rid of Yellow Van Dam. So Diop's agent called and said, hey, I've got a defender who's not doing anything. You want him? And
his word, he didn't do anything the night we were there.
We need him for 6 weeks, and they signed him for 18 months. That's how bad the Galaxy front office is right now.
That's Chicago-like.
Klein and Vallenas have so little juice. They signed a washed-up, injury-prone, out-of-contract for a year, third division player.
He played like it.
And gave in to his demands for an 18-month contract.
And he was responsible for 3 of the 4 goals. And the 4th goal was...
That's hilarious.
It was the Toronto keeper clears it from the top from the 18. Lands probably right about...
If I'm Chiani, literally the ball is right here. This is where the ball is, and he just watches it. He starts to chest it, then pulls back and lets it go as the player's running in behind him.
And it lands probably 35 yards front of the goal. Vasquez still running, stays onside, right behind it, takes it in and scores. Johnny runs back, and that's when we got the double peacock.
We got double peacocks.
And Ballard and I just looked at each other. We just started laughing.
Yeah, it was so horrible.
Yeah, we didn't think it was a good, time to start giving Mark shit because he probably would have.
But Chris, this whole thing, the whole game.
Yeah.
How do you watch this every week? How do you watch this? It was horrible. It was terrible. And that guy, since that game, has given up, I think, another 4 goals directly responsible.
And the thing was that was the week of the Atlanta-Orlando game. By the way, props to Atlanta for getting 70,000 people there for that game.
Holy shit, Bags. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And they had just come off beating New England like 9-0. They ended up they beat Orlando. Galaxy were coming off 2 being shut out twice, going into Atlanta that Wednesday night. Mark turns to me on the way home. He's like, we are going to get fucking killed. Because Martinez is going to have – because Joseph Martinez had 2 hat tricks back-to-back leading up to that game against the Galaxy. He's going to score 5. I couldn't do anything other than just like, yeah.
Yeah. He hung, 2 on us, I think? Or did he get the hat trick again?
He had 1 at least. I think
yeah. I stopped.
Yeah,
I stopped trying to tally after that.
And that game wasn't as bad.
No,
and then last night against Real Salt Lake.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
The 95th minute.
95th minute and 4 minutes of stoppage time on a 50-50 ball that no one had control of, where the person who was called on the foul was the one who was actually hit. So the RSL player was coming in and took out Alessandrini's legs, but got the foul called on Alessandrini. Whatever, fine. I can't blame the ref because Gio shat the bed for 90 minutes. And if RSL hadn't been so shitty last night, they could have hung 6 on us easily. They had open nets 3 times and shanked it wide. They geoed so bad the whole game. I mean, Alessandrini hit the post. Boateng hit the post. Jameson hit the post. Gio hit way right of the goal, way left of the goal, and way above the goal. If he didn't give the ball away.
Did he hit the Chargers tarp at one point in the second level?
You know what? Someone did put it up into the bleachers. I don't remember who it was, but it was horrible. It just horrible. And I'm sitting there. We're watching the game, and the guy, there's no one's in my section. My section used to be always full. There's no one there. Half of my friends haven't renewed.
Can you get your family to go even?
Sorry?
Family go with you?
The boys went with me.
Oh,
and, I was pointing out things the Galaxy were doing for them not to do when they play.
At which point do I think about calling Child Protective Services?
So it was informative.
Yeah, why did they make you mad that you took them to the game?
We didn't like you anymore, Daddy.
Yeah, poor things. So yeah, our season's over, and I honestly, at this point, you want people to renew like me? Let me start the game. Let me start a game. How much worse can it be?
Caller 9 gets to play midfielder this week.
I would fly out to watch that game if you played.
I mean, shit. You start me. How can it be any worse? I'll give my all just for the shot of being able to, somehow score a goal and, I'm lifting my beer gut onto someone's lower back and humping them. That would be my goal celebration. I mean, that would be worth it. Dear God, how could it be any worse? That team is so terrible.
Hey, Chris, how many times during our game did you or I turn to the other one and say Gio is just not very good?
It was a lot of times. I mean, I felt like it was a regular every 4 or 5 minutes at least. We just look at each other. Towards the end of the game, I think we weren't even talking. We just looked at each other and raised our eyebrows.
At one point I said, I'm curious to see what Gio's heat map looks like.
Yeah, I don't think he generated any heat.
And Chris just goes, it'd be a blank screen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought Jonathan showed more effort and hustle, trying to be almost like a basketball point guard in terms of controlling the ball and working out of the midfield. But I was impressed with Gio whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, that was time we had the pitch invader, and that guy was better than Gio, and he was checking his phone the whole time, running across the pitch.
Oh my God, that was the best.
He got on the field and he's running, and he's running with his phone like this, watching his phone as he's running. Like, is he timing himself? Does he have a bet for how long he can stay on the field?
Makes no attempt to go towards any player.
Just running
starts
randomly.
South end and just heads, just takes off. Looks at his phone. It looked like he started a timer.
Yeah. Seeing
how down, passed a bunch of players, and they tackled him at the right on the end line.
And it was like $10 for every second he was on the pitch or something.
I was like, hey, look, that guy ran past Geo too, Mark.
Yeah. Oh God.
Like down at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, it was
Because, like that was the most exciting part of the night for the Galaxy.
It was. It really was. And last night they weren't playing from midfield forward. They were playing great, although they couldn't finish, which that's been their story for ages now. But it was weird if you can go back and watch highlights of the game last night. The second half, it was very, very predictable what they were doing. After the first 3 minutes, the second half, it's like, oh, okay, they're going to bring the ball up to the center line. They're going to run someone in, give him the ball. He's going to pass it back out. They're going to run. It was like watching the Globetrotters and their wheel offense. They'd run a second person in, bring the ball out. Jonathan would attack that person. That ball would come out. It would come back into a third person. They'd draw Jones out with that person. Ball would come back out. Ball would then come back in and do an empty midfield, one-on-one versus Ciani. And we were, somehow they didn't score. It was amazing to watch, but it was repetitively, time and time again. One ball in, back out. Second ball in, pull Dos Santos out. Third ball in, pull Jones out. Fourth ball over the top to Ciani or to whoever was there. One-on-one with Ciani and open goal.
Put 3-1 odds. Krause uses that in his team next week.
I would.
Absolutely. I was taking notes.
It was amazing. It was horrible. Oh, my God. But the guy next to me, we were the same thing. We'd look at each other and go, fucking Gio. Or how do you miss, how do you miss that? It was just horrible. We were peacocking in the stands. Like, what the fuck is going on? It was horrible.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So what's the last run of form for the Galaxy?
We're gonna lose the next two games.
No, I mean, but you're tied. What did you say before the show?
Two ties,
Two
three
ties.
losses, and a win.
You were up 3-1 in the 80th minute in Houston on Wednesday,
and drew 3-3. We were up 1-0 in the 94th and lost in the 95th last night, or tied in the 95th. We lost against who? We lose against? We lost last week against Kansas City. We lost against Atlanta. We lost against Toronto, and we beat. Oh, who did we lose to before Toronto? There was another game we lost before that. An away game. Who was that? I don't remember.
It wasn't New England, was it?
Fuck, I hope not. No, something before that we lost to, and then we beat Colorado. So 4 losses. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're terrible. We are terrible. It's staggering.
Well, Dallas won on Wednesday for the first time in 67 days.
Wow.
And they're somehow still above 500. I'm amazed at that.
I'm shocked.
That's what you get when you tear it up early.
They tied in Orlando last night. The first time they had the same lineup for 3 straight games in like years. Because while having players that get to perform in the Gold Cup or international duty throws off your rhythm, and then you come back and you can't do anything. And then when some of your players are not performing up to, or then whenever your coach puts out a bingo hat lineup in Minnesota and gets drubbed 4-1.
Or you got players in the nursery.
Yeah, well, that's what I hear. That's what they call it.
Yeah,
that's what they say. Why are you in the nursery?
Amazing.
Hey, Mark, remember before the game when we were having a conversation with one of the staff members, and he said Ziggy had tried an experiment.
Yes.
And then it came to fruition.
Yeah, the week before he had told Jossie that
Siggy.
Well, no, the week before Siggy had told Jossie that he was going to start him at right back just to fuck with his head. And then he started him at right back.
And made him practice at right back.
Made him practice at right back. Made him do everything at right back just to get in his head. And then the last, 3 games now, he started at right back. What the fuck? And he's still not good. He's still not very good. It's just amazing.
Maybe it's that groin injury he's carrying that's keeping him from going to national team duty.
Well, he pulled out probably the first time he's ever done that in his life, but yeah.
Hey, speaking of groins, Jeff Krause.
Hey.
Wow.
I'll pull your groin.
All for you.
Going back to the intros. Catch us up on the fire.
Well, they have what should be 2 coast games to finish the season against Philly and Houston, and they're probably going to split those at best. Michael DeLue went down yesterday with a knee injury that's probably got him out for the season. It looked nasty. I wouldn't be surprised if he blew his ACL out, which is a huge hit for them. But they've been, everybody talked about their form earlier in the season. Oh, the Fire turned around, and
Schweinsteiger saved us. Schweinsteiger saved us.
Yeah, and Schweinsteiger even said that we were punching above our weight. And people tried to, oh no, he meant this, he meant that. I'm like, I was standing 6 inches away from him. He said that they were playing better than what their potential is. Like he said flat out. They had this whole post Gold Cup slump that I think is probably more accurate to their form than any streak they've put together this year. They're going to back into the playoffs, and they're probably going to be one and done. I won't be surprised at all if they get bounced in the play-in game. And they are going to end up, I don't think it's mathematically possible. It might still be mathematically possible for them to end up in sixth, but they are not going to be, what are they in right? I think they're in third right now, maybe. Even lower.
They're in fourth right now.
Are they?
Fourth
Yeah,
with 32 points.
They're
fourth with 52 points.
52 points. They're a point behind Atlanta, which, hey, it'd be great to get 3 points yesterday instead of a draw. But, again.
Atlanta and the Red Bulls have a game in hand. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Atlanta and the Red Bulls have a game in hand, and I think they're going to end up in fifth. They're going to end up in fifth. They're going to play whoever the sixth place team is, which looks like it's going to be New York, and the Red Bulls are probably going to bounce them. I won't be surprised at all if that's what happens.
Now,
this team is so one-dimensional and yeah.
Let me interject one thing really quick, Jeff. I'm sorry. Let me interject one thing really quick. I hate to interrupt you, but this is my biggest fucking complaint about MLS. We've got basically 2 weeks to go in the season of play, right? We got 2 weeks of play left in the season. Yet in the Western Conference, there are still two teams with 2 games in hand, 2 teams with 1 game in hand, and in the East, there's still 2 more teams with a game in hand. With 2 weeks to go in the season, everybody should be level by now. We should all be at the same numbers.
Absolutely,
that's one thing I hate about MLS.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Oh, and they had players, they had teams playing games during the Gold Cup break, and it's like, why? It makes no sense. Schweinsteiger, we talked to Schweinsteiger earlier this season, and he's like, I do not understand this league playing games during an international break. He's like, that's madness to me, and he's right. You know. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Atlanta and New York both have a game in hand over everybody else in the East. And, like I said, I mean, New York is 9 points behind the Fire right now, and they've got 3 games to play. So theoretically, they could overtake them and at least come up even with them on points. I don't know how that would shake out in the standings, who would be above who there, but
well, if it would go to goal differential, then that's 3-2. Columbus 3, New York 2. So it ends up.
Well, if
that would also be if they won all 3. And
I'll say
Columbus
doesn't win any, and that Chicago doesn't win any. Which with, like I said, 2 games left. Philadelphia stomped them in Philly, which is a horrible game that we'll just have to bounce back, and there's some fans in Chicago that say it's great that the Fire are doing good, but this is not anywhere near where they need to be. And there's other people that are basically like, we're winning, why are you complaining? And I fall in the former. What do I know? We'll see. I'm sure they're just dying to prove everybody wrong, and I'd love for everybody to be wrong and for them to make this huge run into the MLS Cup. But it ain't happening.
It would be a
not.
really
I don't know
great
that
thing
it
to see,
matters
though,
in
man.
the East the way that Toronto's playing.
Yeah, and I've been saying that for 3 months. Nobody's beaten Toronto. I don't think anybody in the West has beaten Toronto, and certainly nobody in the East is beating Toronto. And that's the thing. Like, if the Fire come up against Toronto, they're not smart enough to beat them.
Mm-mm.
They're just not smart enough. Paunovic does not have the tactics to beat Toronto FC. He doesn't know how to stop Gio. I mean, we've done fine against Altidore, but Altidore is Altidore. So and if they take care of those guys, then somebody like Justin Morrow is going to come and score a hat trick on them too, and look like the patron saint of Toronto FC. So
well, and then you look at the West. Vancouver very, very quietly top of the West with 51 points, already clinching a playoff spot. That puts them 5th in the East.
Right.
And I
It's
really
funny because for years the West was the
I don't
best,
see
wasn't it?
anybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
the West is the East this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And last I want to say beginning of August we were talking about how Houston's defense was carrying. They were top of the West, and now they sit 5th with 43 points. And you've got 3 teams behind them at 42. So anything could really happen where a team like FC Dallas that's 8th based on goal differential, or even San Jose, could finish 3rd or 4th. Because Seattle lost today to Philadelphia. So there, and we talk about this crazy schedule with games in hand. There's still ways for people to make up some ground.
Yeah, it would be so MLS if a team like Real Salt Lake had Petke take them all the way to the Cup and just win it all and just leave everybody in the dust.
Especially
I could so see that happening.
That's like Schmetzer last year with Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah, and then there'd all be all these long form think pieces about how amazing Mike Petke is, and look what he did in RSL, and
pass him out, Trey.
Yeah, let's get him in the Hall of Fame. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Mike Petke, but that would just be the most MLS thing ever.
Well, thank you, Jeff, because our hashtag this week is That's So MLS. If you want to play along, that's So MLS.
Hey, Jeff,
no apostrophe in it because Twitter can't handle it.
Yes. Yeah. What's up, Mike?
So being in a huge metropolitan city like you are, you've got the Cubs, you've got the Sox, you've got the Blackhawks, you got the Bears.
Yep.
Is it in Chicago the way it is here in LA, where the overwhelming number of the population has no fucking clue there's a professional soccer team in your city?
I live in a major city, and I can say that.
Yes and no. I would normally fall wholeheartedly behind that in agreement, but the Fire have here's the Fire's thing. There's enough of a soccer following in Chicago that people that want to find the Fire will find the Fire. And to their credit, they've done more at marketing in the city. They built that Fire pitch soccer dome on the north side of Chicago, which it does bring in a lot of activity and everything. They've done a lot more with billboards and everything else. All that said, winning brings people in in Chicago. That's all that they need. They brought in Schweinsteiger, but Schweinsteiger doesn't have the pull that Blanco had. He doesn't have the pull, I would say, that Neri Castile had when the Fire signed Neri Castile, even though he was a complete flop. Winning is what brings people to games in Chicago. And so the Fire had last night was considered a sellout, which I saw empty seats all over the place, but that's a whole other show probably. But that was their 6th sellout for the year. And again,
I can say that same thing.
I had a tweet about that. I'll get to that in a second too. They had their 6th sellout of the year this year, and they've had a couple of good sized crowds that were 17,000, 18,000 as well. And all that has happened as a result of them winning games. And has it been Schweinsteiger too? Yeah, sure. The guy's an international soccer star, and he's one of the biggest German players to ever play. He's definitely the biggest German player to ever play in MLS.
I don't know about Lothar Matthäus. Didn't Lothar Matthäus play too? Yeah, he did okay. Anyway, I'm splitting hairs. Carry on.
Who was the guy that played for Toronto that called him the worst team in the history of soccer? Koeman.
Torsten Frings.
Torsten Frings.
Now,
I thought it was Koeman that did it.
I swear to God, Torsten Frings is what happens when your nuts switch places within your sack. I am convinced of that.
Also from 2012.
I'm still convinced.
I have to. I usually don't like. I don't really like drawing attention to my tweets, but talking about the attendance thing, there was this picture. Let's see if I could do this.
Oh yeah.
Of the Barcelona game today in an empty stadium because of all the unrest there. And so I tweeted out and said, today's New York Red Bulls announced attendance is 20,761.
That's good. I like that.
That's I had to take a shot at New York Red Bulls because I hate looking at their games on ESPN almost every week and them saying, 19,000 people, and you see the entire upper deck empty.
We had 14,522 at our game on Wednesday.
Nice. Now, I've been to Red Bull Arena quite a few times, and it's been actually full maybe twice the times I've been there, but they always declare it a sellout. And I'm sure it's the whole tickets sold versus tickets redeemed that you have everywhere. But it just seems disingenuous to say, oh, look, the place is full. And it clearly isn't. Just,
Well, and it's the difference between MLS games and games in other sports, the Chicago Bulls are gonna play a game in the United Center, and I think that place holds 18,000. If they've got 16,000, it looks like 16,000. You put 16,000 in Toyota Park, and you can tell that it's not 20,000.
Right.
I mean, there's no hiding it, and I think it's that way with most soccer stadiums around the country. But
that's so MLS.
It's so MLS, exactly. So yeah, but I mean, go back to the Fire. It's they're not that far outside the city that's an impact. Everybody says, "Oh, they're not inside Chicago proper." It doesn't matter. You put together a winning soccer team that's exciting to watch, and people are going to show up. And
I agree.
Brian's going to get really tired.
No. I was laughing because Ballard's lower third says.
Oh, do you want me to say something so you can see it?
My light is totally fine. My lighting is totally fine, you guys.
I don't even think I have a lower third, do
I? No, nobody
can.
No, but I mean.
Oh well, no, we have two viewers
See,
now. I'm assuming one is Nick. I don't know who the other one is.
I'll be ready for that next time when I'm on in 2 years again and actually get around to answering Brian's calls.
Oh, no,
it really depends on
next break.
3 years. I was going to say, it depends next time Hank bails out and we desperately need a third guy. Yeah. It can be cool. Oh, we can call Krause.
I invited him earlier before, and then I would Evan Ream, but Evan Ream is far too important to show up here.
Yeah.
Hey, Ballard, you want to talk about the Revolution, or do you want to take off because you got somewhere to be?
I have somewhere to be, but Revolution.
Nobody wants to talk about the Revolution.
They're not going to make the playoffs. I saw them at the beginning of September. They beat Orlando 4-0. They could have scored 7. Oh, this is a good team, and then they've been terrible since. They shipped 7 against Atlanta, 6 against another team, Orlando, I think. No, was it Orlando? I forget, but they've let in a lot of goals, and they're struggling, so they're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, Atlanta beat them 9-0.
No, 7-0 Atlanta.
Felt like 9.
And then 3 days after that, they lost in Kansas City. They managed to beat a couple of teams in between, but then they lost 6-1. I want to say Orlando, but that probably isn't right.
I remember seeing somebody tweeted that New England got beat 6-1, and that was not their worst defeat this season.
No. I mean, they were abject for 3 or 4 weeks in September. Did okay last night. They held Atlanta to a draw, but Atlanta, I think, they're comfortably in the playoffs. They're not going to win they're not going to win Supporters Shield now because Toronto have it. So I wouldn't be, and I haven't seen the squads, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took it very easy.
Well, Atlanta's sitting on 53 points in third, Chicago 52 in fourth place, Columbus in fifth place with 50 points. That's what we were talking about with Jeff. That's one of those things where you might see some flipping and flopping between 2 and 5 here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chris has a girlfriend, and he probably has a hot date with her, right?
Yeah.
No, believe it or not, I actually have to work. I have a phone call with Australia, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, what is it about Revolution fans that they're always crying? I mean, I cry about how horrible the Galaxy are, but it's always with the Revolution. It's always, oh, Lee Wen's on the national team. Oh, that wasn't a red card. Oh, everybody hates us. What is it?
Well, first off, everybody does hate them. I mean, every time.
So everybody does hate them.
Well, yeah, because
the fans of the team.
They complain about the team. I think a lot of it is that they struggle for relevance so much in the market, and the ownership doesn't do much. So at some point, you just can't go, I hate everybody.
Right. Okay. I just,
That's a fair explanation.
I mean,
I see it so much, I've run out of Lee Wen jokes. And I love Lee Wen.
Hey, friend of the podcast, Lee Wen. He was on like.
I love Lee Wen.
If you run out of jokes, just fall back on the hairdo.
I mean, we had him on. He was the sweetest guy in the world. Very nice, very forthcoming.
This is before he knew any better. And right when he had come back to the league, we had him on Skype. We talked to him for an hour.
Yeah.
Don't give a Revolution player a soul. All right. Come on. Let's draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, well.
Sorry,
all right,
Chris.
Let's Ballard, throw your plugs if you want anybody to follow you anywhere.
I just follow me on Twitter at Chris J Ballard for below average puns. That's about all I do on there, really.
Oh, booby trap.
Mark just came
backwards. Is party boob.
That
party
needs
boob.
to be your lower third.
Oh God.
Also, I'm a lasagna hog. Go hang a salami. Taco cat.
You spend too much time on the internet, Bill.
Party boo.
You know that we already know the fact that nobody really gives a rat's ass about this show, but when somebody that's actually on the show as it's happening is reading other shit on the internet, that is probably why.
I'm not. I found it yesterday. Party boob. I've been in love with that. Sorry.
All right, Krause, give us your plugs.
Don't follow me anywhere.
At Old Man Krause.
At Old Man Krause. Yeah. No. What is it now? Eclipse 74. I think there's an underscore in there. Just look for the big fat guy on Twitter.
You need to work on your promotion.
Are you doing a pod? Are you still doing your show?
Yeah, we've done like 3 episodes this year. Just covering the fire gets like really exhausting.
I don't blame you.
So it was really awesome for like the first 3 years when they sucked really bad and we had tons to talk about. And now it's like, whatever.
The mediocrity is boring.
They're going to make the playoffs. Yeah, it is. Because, you never want to get your hopes up too high and you don't want to give the, front office like any credit because Andrew Hoffman's the devil. But, I don't know. Yeah, we got Fire Confidential Live, which is FirePod FC, and I'm at Eclipse 74.
At Old Man Krause, that's the funnier one.
Yeah, at Old Man Krause is where you want to go. He actually tweeted to me while we were on the show here.
Nice.
So
hey,
go check that out.
All right, party boob, go on, fire it out.
Hi at themarkvia.com or wait, no, Twitter.
Oh my God.
At the Mark Via. That's me. Yeah. Hi.
That's good branding.
Right? Yeah,
that's good branding.
Yeah. I'm waiting for him to go get at party boob.
I might.
Or that'll be his lower third when we do another show in 12 months.
I'm gonna hurry up and take it before you make him pay me for it.
I'm squatting on your party boob. If that wasn't long, that would be our hashtag this week.
Endless possibilities.
Hashtag that's so MLS for our 2 viewers that are here. And nobody that will catch up on Twitter. At Top of the Table TV. topoftheTable.tv if you want to watch this over again and see that Jeff is wearing a Baby Yep t-shirt. You can do that. And that's really it. Chris, you got to go to work.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Not often. All right. Cheerio.
Bye, guys.
I'm going to tailor the
We'll see you next week, maybe. Thanks for watching the show.